Spirit refers to timelessness, they're talking about time becoming slippy, time becoming irrelevant. There is a very strong third dimensional attachment to the idea and the concept of time. Einstein talked a lot about time. You should look up his revelations on it. But also from our current fifth dimensional standpoint, there is a need to let that old concept, leave it where it belongs, which is in the 3D, which is no longer where you are, especially if you're currently watching this video. I channel these messages on behalf of the teachers of teachers, the high consciousness, the high sensitives, people who have made their way to the edge of the edge of the edge of expanding consciousness. I no longer wear a watch. I don't have clocks in my bedroom or in my house. I'm in a shared house, so the friend that I share with, you know, we have a clock in the kitchen. I'm not saying abandon all clocks and refuse to operate in the linear structures that have been placed around time. What I'm saying is, don't be so attached to it. And the ego is greatly invested in time, in the concept of time. For instance, aging. That's a third dimensional ego attachment to time. Did you know that when you spend your energy, or some people might say spend your time, doing activities that you love, that are inspiring, that get your juices going, flowing, get the passions aroused, you actually step outside time and there is no aging that happens during that time. So that means if you're spending your energy, your time, in activities that do not please you, that in fact go against your principles, maybe you're in a job that goes against your principles, maybe you're doing things that you feel you should do. Should is another concept belonging to the 3D. It does not have a place in the fifth dimensional paradise here created on earth that many of us have stepped into. Back to the ego and time. When you push yourself to do activities, whether it's exercise or eating foods that you don't enjoy, or working for somebody who you just feel it goes against your principles, it goes against the truth of who you are, of the spiritual beliefs you have, when you go against your belief systems, when you push against what feels right in the body, and the body never lies, you are contributing to the attachment of time and aging and accelerating the negative forces in your life. If you feel you have to do those things, that they are a necessity for you, find a way to soften your beliefs and concepts around time. Find a way to soften your ideas around going into that job every day, doing those activities. Find a way to line up with it. That's how we shift things. It's not that you have to run out tomorrow and quit your job and quit exercising and go crazy eating cakes and biscuits and turn into an immature, childish, unconscious being. That's not what we are saying here. We are talking about abandoning the abandonment of your desire. Give up on your ego running the show. Your ego will always want something from you. It will always demand. It will always have its hands out saying, give me more, give me more, give me more. It will never be satisfied. So by leaving all that where it belongs in a different Gaia, a different third dimensional reality, the old version of you, you make space for timelessness, for expansion of space, for the opening of energy and using energy in a productive, passionate, abundant way that serves you. When you follow the passion, follow your bliss, as Joseph Campbell said, you will automatically be lined up with the abundance of being. Abundance meaning, to quote Bashar, the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. That does not mean that somebody who hasn't got a 10-foot pool with a mansion house and 5 cars and exotic holidays isn't following their bliss and isn't in that abundant state, because the ability to have what you need right now in this moment for you could be, you know, a glass of water in one hand and an apple in the other, sitting comfortably with shelter and good people around you and a satisfaction in your belly. Don't get hung up on the outside ideas of what success is, of what abundance is, of what somebody following their bliss is. It may not look like you think. To look at Gandhi, you would think that he was impoverished. To look at Mother Teresa, you would say the same. And yet, these souls have and had in their earthly time a richness beyond anything that you can even imagine. They had an inner richness. They were following their bliss. They were following what their hearts called them to do. And that in itself meant they were a massive success. They didn't have pools and gold and diamonds and bling and all that other crap. They had the real richness, which is an inner state of satisfaction. I recently had someone close to me, a relative, question where my life is for a 37-year-old woman. And I looked her straight in the heart, in the eyes, and I smiled and I said, I am happy. I am happy. And with that truth-telling, all her armor, all her ego's pushing and prodding and worry and concern was dismantled. Because you can't argue with that kind of success. That's an inner success. That's an inner richness. Not everybody is after the bling bling. Not everybody seeks the shiny cars and the 10-bedroomed houses and whatever else. We all have our own unique perspective on what richness is, on what abundance means. But the true meaning of abundance from a cosmic perspective is, I think Bashar, I've heard many explanations of abundance, but for me, Bashar said it the best, and that is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And if you can do those things, if you can be where you need to be when you want to be there, you're an abundant baby. So start redefining what abundance, success, prosperity, richness means to you. Because in this new world, we are starting to sophisticate what we are going for, what we are aspiring to. Thank God. Because for a long time there, many were buying into the illusion that to be successful only meant this cardboard cutout version of it. And I'm not negating those things. If you want those things, that's your business. But I would ask you to dig deeper and say, why do you want those things? What is it about them? Is it the sense of status? Is it about the power that you feel by having those things will say to the world? And if this is true, well, understand that you are operating from your egoic self. You're not operating from your true self. Because the true self wants satisfaction and progress. Satisfaction and progress. It wants to find contentment and peace and joy and love, and then it wants to expand and is happy to be uncomfortable in the midst of that expansion. And the same again, it wants to keep doing that, and it will do that and express that in different ways at different times in your evolution. Let us look at satisfaction. This is where we are right now after this eclipse time, in the latter part of August 2018. And will only expand as we move out to September. Don't be surprised if you find your energy takes a dip after all this moon activity and these eclipses. We have to ground that energy. We need to anchor it down into our physical cells, in our bodies, onto this earth. And we need to put those new ideals, new structures, new concepts and programs into place. That can be tiring, especially for the physical body. The saying of, oh, I'm only human. Know that every time you say, I am only human, or you use the human, oh, but I'm human, oh, but, you know, it's okay to be human. Remember, you're actually downgrading yourself. You're not only human. In fact, the human part of you is probably the most insignificant, teeny tiny, small part of you. You are not only human. You are cosmic. You are expanded. You are God force in, yes, temporarily a human package. But boy, oh boy, trust me when I tell you, you are not only human. You are the universe. We all are our own universes. How could you be anything else? Your only perspective is your perspective. Your only way of seeing this experience of having a translation of it comes from you, your selfish viewpoint. So to be selfish is actually to be the truth of things. And when I say selfish, we are not referring to selfish as in, again, the third dimensional religious projection of the meaning of that word. I'm talking about following your bliss, doing what feels right for you. That's the true selfishness, as in overflowing with your God force energy. Satisfaction is a big theme for 2018. And if you feel you've just touched the surface of that thus far, be prepared and be happy to embrace that satisfaction will go deeper into the being of you as we go out through the rest of this year. So if you haven't found satisfaction in your living situation, in your work, your passion expressed, creating a living for yourself, as they say, or co-creating a living, in your relationships, in your family members and how you relate with them, in the quality of your being, know that you will either be pushed to create that as we go into September, October, November, or it will flesh out for you because you've sown the seeds and you're now reaping the harvest